strategy is the development of a framework that communicates a concept, a framework that is based on a process, a framework that is developed on the basis of data that satisfies the long-term strategic goal of the company. Strategic communication provides a conceptual umbrella that enables organizations to integrate their disparate messaging efforts. It allows to create and distribute communications that have an inner coherence. This all starts with the vision of the company. A vision statement of a company is the declaration of the objective of the company, and that is intended to guide the internal decision making. On the basis of the vision, on the basis of the desired future state, the purpose and the goal of operation of an organization is identified, which is named as mission of the company. Strategic planning is a process of defining direction and making decisions on the resource allocation to pursue the strategy. It may also extend to control mechanisms for guiding the implementation of the strategy because the strategic planning has become prominent for the business. Over the time, with increase in the competency ability among different brands, creativity is regarded as the greatest asset for the business. It is understood as most vital for shaping the future of the business. It was agreed that to lead the criteria in one domain or other, creativity is needed, which involves an imaginative leap to a new perspective. The focus of agencies shifted to create contents with intersection of different frames of references by forming relation and thereby generating new correlates. Over the time, it was thought as divine inspiration. Agencies started considering objectivity without projections. The last decade have been a full of new form of arrangements of old elements, divergent thinking with respect to fluency, flexibility, and originality. The two overlapping construct, creativity and intelligence, are regarded critically important in the business. Looking at the emerging importance of creativity in the field of marketing and branding, agencies shifted their complete focus on coming with creative ideas to position brands efficiently. The exciting part of this change was the bar of creativity in last decade has gone up significantly, but the disappointing part was the rate of success of these creative campaigns. From 2008 to 2015, there were 14 observational studies have been analyzed, which covers more than 100 creative campaigns. The creativity meter was observed and understood as a mild, moderate, and high as per degree of shift in the efforts as compared to existing routine exercises or past event. Most of B2C campaigns were found successfully implementing at high degree of creativity, whereas due to certain limitations of B2B business environment, the related campaigns were found doing decent creative job with moderate degree of innovation. The fact which would disappoint is even after being so creative, so innovative, so different, more than 50% of these campaigns fails to deliver the desired goal. It's essential to know where things are going wrong. Multiple aspects of the execution were assessed and multiple facts were analyzed. All these exercises identified one single core concept, and the single core concept is based on the degree of relevance to the core theme of the brand, to the core goal of the brand. The probability of success of a campaign was very high when it was strongly associated, it was strongly aligned to the core theme of the brand, to the core goal of the brand. Whereas there were more than 60% campaigns who scored very high on creative meter, but it was not relevant to the core theme of the brand, to the core strategic goal, strategic objective of the brand. Hence, the result was not desirable. Also, there were 4 key areas of exercise were observed and it was found very common with all those highly creative and irrelevant campaigns. Elements associated with these four key areas need to be studied and related concerns need to be addressed. Marketing strategy is where we play and how we win the market. Tactics are how we then deliver on a strategy and execute for success. In the traditional world of marketing, we used to follow a systematic process. First, we used to build the map of the market with the help of research in the form of decent segmentation. From there, we can decide which segments to go after and how to position our brands for optimum success. Finally, we devise clear strategic objectives for each targeted segments, specifying the goal we will achieve. Only then we used to start to think about tactical execution and which specific tool we might apply. But things have changed now. The last decade has seen the marketing with so many new tools and techniques. Moreover, the concept of real time rather than long term planning has added fuel to the fire. Finally, a new breed of marketer who select their mode of execution long before any strategy has been agreed to. With the growing interest in the area of tactic based execution, the change in thought process of marketers are observed. A brain mapping study says that people who live in real time, people who are influenced by tactic based execution, people who consider tactics before strategy, fails for more than 50% of the incidences of decision making. Whereas people who are oriented to strategic goal, people who consider strategy before tactics found doing decently well with more than 60% of the incidences of decision making. To study the importance of strategy over tactic, Mac vs. PC campaign run by Apple is an ideal example. Apple adjusted perceptions, whether those perceptions are about Apple or about the competition, which is Microsoft. Repositioning a giant like Microsoft was not so easy, but with the help of great strategies and creative tactics, which are totally aligned with the strategic goal, made this happen. While many ad agencies tell that they do brand strategy, but what they actually offer is creative strategy. Both are needed, but the terms are not synonyms. These may be linked together to each other, but they run independently of one another. If you look at the data, 361 different ads were analyzed between the year 2009 to 2012. It was found that around 64% of the ads were highly influenced by creativity, whereas less than 30% were those who were based on brand strategy. It's very essential to understand the difference. Brand strategy is the business case for change at brand level. It tells the future position of a brand in the marketplace based on the company's wider business aspiration. Also, it is based on company's ability to deliver and market brands that is aligned to the desired position. The purpose of the brand strategy is to identify how far the brand must travel perceptually in order to be competitive. Also, the purpose and the values that brand culture will need to adhere in order to make the journey happen. Once this point is known and quantified as viable, the role of creative strategy comes into the picture. The creative strategy captures how the brand will tell the story, the personality, and the behavior that the brand will need to adopt in order to make the journey happen and make it successful. Moreover, the communication theme that will hold the storytelling together. The purpose of the campaign is to animate the creative strategy into tangible storyline for consumers. What concern is the situation when there is no true brand strategy, hence the final goal of the brand remains unknown. Instead, the brand agencies jump from one creative strategy to another or from one campaign idea to another with no robust reason of doing so. Because the end goal remains unstated and unquantified, it is impossible to establish metrics much beyond the reach. Just Do It is an ideal campaign to understand the importance and the difference between brand strategy and creative moves based on the brand strategy. Just Do It campaign was driven executing multiple creative strategies, and each and every aspect of the creative was strongly associated and strongly aligned with the core theme of the brand, with the core goal of the brand. The campaign tapped deeply into the authentic character of Nike's brand value and brand purpose. People associated with the campaign knew that the brand's symbolic meaning originates with its underlying purpose, and it is expressed as a field vibration and radiates from very core of the company. Such a deep brand purpose was described as the intersection of three circles of influences. The first circle relates to understanding and underlying social tension that desperately requires resolving. And the second circle is a cold truth that expresses reasons for the brand's very existence. And the third circle connects the specific unmet consumer's need in a way that the brand can legitimately address. The intersection of brand strategy and creative messaging is an area where many marketers struggle. As per a recent study conducted in 2017, where more than 50 brands were scanned, it was observed that only 11% brands could deliver their message effectively as per the desired goal. Developing a brand strategy is a top down introspective process, and it is driven by a business strategy. While creative expression is a downstream activity and it is centered in marketing communication. In any organization, these two disciplines must occupy different levels on the value chain. And also, it must be supported by the behavior of the brand in every internal action taken by the stakeholder and in all mental and physical interactions consumers experience. Translating brand strategy to creative messaging is a complex process. To be effective, the process requires coordination between left brainers and right brainers. To understand the importance of addressing all relevant and distinctive aspects of a brand and its translation into creative messaging, the most interesting man on the earth is an ideal campaign. The creative team of the campaign knew that there is a natural separation between the thinking style of data people and creative people. Within any organization, there are three thinking archetypes that must work together for the translation of brand strategy to brand messaging to make it clear and effective for all concerned. And they are the engineer, the economist, and the artist. Managing the translation of brand strategy and creative messaging is a delicate process of allowing the polarized thinking archetypes of the engineer, economist, and the artist to come together as an integrated force. These implicit elements of the campaign work together to complete the distinctive and relevant feeling around the brand. These assets reinforces and amplifies brand's promise. In effect, thinking like an architect will enable your team to design an enduring structure to bridge brand strategy and brand messaging in a way that do not look like marketing. Clearly, there is an additional equity to be extracted from this successful campaign by building such an exciting storyline. They are attempting to balance breakthrough and familiarity in a very creative manner. The sequence of brand strategy is very critical. Having carefully conducted your research, you map the market, identifying multiple existing segments on the basis of certain traits, certain facts, certain characteristics, which differs them from each other. After segmentation, we choose our target markets where we are intended to serve. After identifying the target market, it's time to find the benefits that are highly important to your target customers and unique to your own brand. On the basis of this information, we position the brand in different segments of targeted market. Once you arrive at this, then it is time to communicate it through your brand identity. It is time to create your brand story and communicate it consistently through a brand elevator speech and marketing communication. Finally, you will need to develop a plan that help you focus your brand's resources on the most important drivers of customer brand insistence, that is awareness, relevant differentiation, value, accessibility, and emotional connection. If you're still at the functional level with your brand's benefit, you need to ladder up to an emotional and shared value level. If you look at data, 232 different failed campaigns which was conducted between the year 2002 to 2014 was analyzed, and it was found that out of these 232 there are only 41 to 59% of the campaign which were based on a particular research. Moreover, there are only 11 to 46% of the campaign who found their segmentation properly. And when it comes to targeting and positioning, still the data is not encouraging. There are only 38 to 59% of these failed campaigns where the targeting and positioning was done efficiently. And the last is the messaging. There are only 21 to 38% of these campaigns where efficient messaging was created and distributed to the customers. To consider an ideal example for reference, for learning, for following, Think Different is an ideal campaign to follow to understand the importance of sequence of a strategy in the business.